Guys, you're welcome to my channel. My name is Jennifer Hanwe. If this is your first time here, you're welcome big time. And if you're a returning subscriber, you're welcome back. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please feel free to hit the subscribe button. I'll be glad to have you. So in today's video, I'll be sharing a story with you guys. So sit back and relax. So once upon a time, there was a girl whose name was Ichaka. Now, Ichaka was so self-conscious. She was so self-conscious about her breath that irrespective of the number of times she brushed her teeth or used mouthwash, she never really felt like her mouth was clean enough. And this went on for a while and it started affecting her self-esteem. At some point, she started feeling like she even had bad breath, and it made her withdraw from public. She would not have conversations with people, or she would stay really far from them, or deliberately cover her mouth when she's talking. Like, it was getting really bad. It kept on going on for a while that a friend of hers noticed it and suggested that she saw a dentist. So Ichaka thought it was a good idea and she went on to see a dentist. But even before visiting a dentist, she had already connected the bad breath she diagnosed herself of to a whole lot of other things that had gone on in her life. For example, she assumed or she convinced herself that it was because of her bad breath that her previous relationship didn't work out, and that it was also because of the bad breath that she was finding it difficult to get into another relationship. So it was even a more complex thing. It really messed with her self-esteem. So eventually she agreed to see a dentist. On visiting the dentist examined her, told her that there was nothing wrong with her. But she was really convinced that there was something wrong. And when the dentist asked her, okay, has anybody ever told you you have a bad breath? She said no. But that from people's body language, she could tell that, they weren't comfortable with her breath. That sometimes when she leans forward to speak to people, they have to like push back because of her breath and all of that. And the dentist was like, all these things could be in your head, because you've already convinced yourself that you have a bad breath. Chances are you're reading extra meaning to people's body language, and these things may not even have anything to do with you. But she wasn't really convinced. She even had to go on to narrate that on her way to the hospital, she sat in a vehicle with a guy, and the moment she said good morning to the guy, the guy turned, looked at her in a very strange way, and she suspected that it was because of her bad breath. And just as she was narrating that incident, it happened that the guy was also a doctor and he walked past. So they called him, do you know this lady? Did you meet her? Have you seen her before? He was like, not quite. He said okay, that she was the one who greeted him when he got into the taxi. So they basically just briefed the guy on what was going on. And did you notice that she had a bad breath when he pulled her? He said no, that he was only trying to adjust his bag and all of that. So he started dawning on her that all these things were in her head, right? So when we asked her, has any of your friends ever told you you have a bad breath? Even the one who suggested you visit a dentist, has she ever said to you that you have a bad breath? She said no. So why do you think you have a bad breath? She says, and when she wakes up in the morning, she perceives a bad breath and all of that. So this is where I come in. There are so many people who think they have bad breath. In fact, in my period of practice, I've met more women who come with the complaint of having a bad breath than men. And 89% of these women do not have a bad breath. In fact, 89 is like, I'm only being modest, because out of all the people who have told me they think they have a bad breath, it's just one person that I've seen with a bad breath, right? And it's just strange. And most of these women, they link it to so many things going on in their lives, to their relationships and all of that. And I don't think they are being fair to themselves, because I've seen more men with bad breath than women. And these men just go about their activities like, they cannot even be they cannot even be bothered, right? So when women come down, with this self-conscious thing, in fact, there was this particular one that was married. And when we asked her, okay, does your husband complain? She said no, that he wouldn't tell her because he wouldn't want to hurt her feeling, right? And I don't know, but I don't think any partner would stomach having a partner that has a bad breath and not want to tell them, right? So if their partner or your partner isn't telling you you have a bad breath, chances are you don't have a bad breath, because this is someone that stays with you day in, day out. So this video is for someone out there who, something has messed with your self-esteem. Maybe even as a child, as a teenager, someone has told you, oh, you have a smelly mouth, just because they want to insult you or make you feel bad. And then you grow into adulthood with that mindset, and then somehow you start feeling like there is something wrong with you. And there is something about our minds. The moment we start feeding it with things, it starts giving us reasons to actually believe that those things are true, right? So when you start saying negative things to yourself, somehow you start seeing things that support those negative things that you're saying. This is not to say that people do not have bad breath. Of course, there are so many people who have bad breath, but to a large extent, most of the people who make this self-diagnosis do not have bad breath. But the people who have bad breath, Many of them don't even know that they do have bad breath. So they just go about their activity acting like everything is fine. Meanwhile, in real life, everything is not fine. And there is also something known as physiologic halitosis. It's a kind of bad breath that is somewhat normal, right? It's not like it's okay for it to have bad breath, but because of the timing of the day, for example, if you're just waking up from sleep, chances are your breath isn't going to be wow. Why? Because when you're sleeping, there is reduced flow of saliva, right? And I've mentioned in one of my videos that saliva has a cleansing effect to an extent. So it helps cleanse the mouth of debris, of dirt, and all. So let's say you don't brush before going to bed and you're sleeping, there is reduced salivary flow. The food debris in your mouth, the microorganisms in your mouth are going to try to break down those food substances. And depending on the kind of food you eat, if it's a meal high in protein or high in amino acids, they can break them down and produce hydrogen sulfide. And these things smell really bad. They don't smell good, right? And then these things are going on in your mouth, which is like an enclosed space. So when you open your mouth in the morning, you notice that this my mouth smells really bad, right? So these are things we call physiological halitosis because it has to do with the timing of the day. Also, if you're dehydrated, if you haven't taken enough water, you're not going to make enough saliva, right? And if you're having a dry mouth, it's also basically going to have the same effect. The food debris in your mouth is going to accumulate. The microorganisms in your mouth may also, proliferate, like grow some more. And then when you open your mouth to talk, you're going to have a bad smell. And then your diet, there are things you eat that once you're done eating them and you open your mouth, it's going to not smell good. But it's not that you have a disease in itself, right? But by and large, if you think you have a bad breath, that is one thing you can do. You can visit a dentist. I don't think any dentist is going to lie to you about the state of your oral health because what is he going to gain by telling you that you don't have a bad breath when you have a bad breath? So there are things you can do if you're convinced you have a bad breath. The first thing is to ask someone you trust, like someone you think would not want to lie to you. And if you're that person that they're asking, please do your friend or your spouse or whoever it is, your child, your boyfriend, the favor of telling them the truth. In as much as you're not trying to hurt them, you also owe it to them to be honest to them, right? So that they can know what their problem is and start seeking help as soon as possible. So you can ask someone you trust to tell you whether you have a bad breath, and then you can visit a dentist. And while you're at it, you make sure you brush 2 times in a day. The brushing twice a day may sound really basic, but many people are not able to do that. And if you do not brush twice a day, you increase your chances of developing a bad breath. Floss in between meal. If you cannot do that, make sure you floss daily, at least once a day, so that the debris in between your teeth will not build up there and cause more problem for you. If you have a hole in your teeth, fill it up. Some people do not even know they have holes in their teeth. So at the end of the day, you would still need to see a dentist. It is in seeing a dentist that the dentist can say, okay, you have a hole on your teeth. This is where the smell is coming from, or you have a pocket, or you have a health condition that is causing this bad breath. And even if you have nothing going on, he's also going to tell you some things you will do to improve your oral hygiene, like brushing twice a day, like I mentioned, flossing, visiting your dentist 6 monthly for your professional teeth cleaning, scaling, and polish. So I quickly wanted to make this video because I've come across so many people who are very convinced they have bad breath, and when you examine them, they do not have any bad breath. In fact, someone who has a bad breath, you don't even have to do too much to perceive the person's bad breath. In fact, there was this time I was examining someone, so we were just having a conversation. I had taken off my nose mask deliberately, and the place was hot, right? So I started fanning myself, and she was like, "Now you're seeing what I'm saying. You're fanning yourself because I'm like, no, I'm fanning myself because I'm hot. She's like, you're also breaking into sweat, so the place is hot. That's why I'm fanning myself. So this is also a proof that when you convince yourself that you have something, right? Somehow you begin to see every other thing happening around you as a way of proving that you actually do have that thing. So guys, this brings me to the end of this very short video. I hope someone out there who watches this is going to take it easy on him or herself. Most times females are the ones who are very self-conscious, who are who really think that this is what their problem is, and many a times too, they have other problems lining up, so they've been able to connect it to all these other things that are not happening. So let's say in the case of Ichaka, she feels like I'm supposed to have gotten married now and I am not married. And what is the easiest thing to link this thing to? Oh, this bad breath I figured out. So maybe it is this bad breath, right? And this could also be the reason why my previous boyfriend left me. And this could also be why. And before you know it, you have a string of things that are not even related, but somehow you've intertwined everything together and you've convinced yourself that these things are the cause of your problem. So This video is for someone out there, and I hope after watching this you become more lenient with yourself, and then you seek dental care. Visit a doctor and get to hear what this doctor has to say and the solutions he or she has to prefer. I love you guys. I know that I do. I just really want everybody out there to live a healthy and wholesome life, irrespective of what stage they are in their lives. And I'm going to keep bringing information or anything I've learned in my journey to also help you in yours. So, yeah, I got you. Take care of yourself. See you in my next video. Bye.